The more you invest, the more receptive you are, the more open you are to receiving information, more specifically challenging and beneficial information. So let me take this example. Here you are, and this event is free, right? So the free event. Now, half of me is clapping because it's amazing, and half of me is clapping feeling sorry for you. Why is that? Because investment equals receptivity. Just me saying this, no one took notes, or very few people took notes, right? Everyone's sitting down like, oh yeah, entertain me more. Why? Because it's free. Right now, what have you invested? Nothing. Maybe a little bit of time, maybe a bit of a drive, but there's not much skin in the game. You're here, it's free, it's fun, and that will close off what you will let in. You'll take this more casually. I know this because when I started getting big and famous and amazing in the self-help world, a lot of people would give me access to their programs, to their coaching programs, for free. Would I go through those programs in detail? Yes or no?
No.
Would there even be some programs I wouldn't even check?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Because they were free. These were programs that I would dream of having access to back in the day when I was all shy and broke. Dream. I'm like, oh, if I only had access to that program, it would change my life. Finally got access for free, didn't even check it. Or I'd check it and just kind of skim through it. Like, oh, let's see what this is about. Let's see what the design is like. Oh, that's very nice. Oh, this title looks a little interesting. Let me click on that, watch a bit of a video, skim through it a bit, and then just go on to the next thing. Why? Because it was free. I didn't take it seriously. A lot of you here, unfortunately, and this is very harsh, but I'm going to just give it to you raw. A lot of you here, you're going to be entertained by this event, but it's not going to change your lives at all. For real. I've seen it for years. People sometimes even come back to the next free event, you know, a couple years later. Like, I'm back. Anything change? Nah. Entertain me. It was fun. It was cool watching you on stage. Okay, but what about your life? Nah. And they come again and again and again, and they just stay stuck, or they fall off. It's absolutely insane. It's actually, as a coach, the saddest thing ever. Okay? So, let's break this down. Investment equals receptivity. Think about it like this. Here you're at a free event. How have you been experiencing this event so far? Think about it. What is your RAS, your selective focus, tuned in on? What are you looking for? You're like, what's he saying? Am I going to hear a new story? A new bit? Am I going to collect a new bit of information? Ooh, is there going to be something entertaining that happens? Oh, is Julian going to do something crazy and loud? Right? How have you been experiencing it? Now, let's just say you spent $500 for this event. Sink into that perspective. As of right now, you're $500 minus. $500 down. If you don't have $500, first of all, pathetic. Number two, you're now in debt. For real. Again, I'm telling you how it is. Unless it's a choice, absolutely pathetic. But if it's a choice, I respect that. But say you don't even have $500, you're now $500 in debt. Take a moment to sink into this perspective. Your bank account, boom, it's down. And you're here. Would something change in the way you experience this event? Would something change in the way you start focusing on what I'm saying? Yes or no? Yes. The answer is yes. Okay, what would happen? I call this ROI thinking, return on investment. You're going to start filtering what I say through, okay, how am I going to use this to make my money back? To get a return on this investment of $500. If it's free, you're not looking for a return, it's free. You might get a little nugget here and there of value. You're like, well, that's great, it's all bonus because it's free. If there's 500, you're sitting here and you're probably going to start taking notes, even on things you don't think are important. You might hear this, oh, investment equals receptivity, and half of you are just like, if you spend $500, you're like, maybe I don't know if this is important, but I'm still going to take a note just in case because I spent $500. You're going to write it down. You're going to start asking yourself, how can I apply this to my life to make the money back, as opposed to entertain me? I'm not even going to think about how I'm going to apply this. It's free. What if you now spent $5,000? Let that sink in. $5,000, boom, gone. Out of your bank account. What would happen? You'd be locked in. You'd be taking a note on everything. Julian moved his hand to the right and his left hand this way. Oh my God, he's literally every note. You'd be so locked in and so much would enter. Okay, why? Because investment equals receptivity. Have any of you take responsibility? And this can be a little counterintuitive too, because you think, okay, I'm going to put some skin in the game. Here I am. I paid. Do it. No. It's put some skin in the game, not for that person, for you. And once there's skin in the game, take responsibility. It's on you. Your success is on you. No one's going to do it for you, and no one is going to care if you don't make it. I'm sure you've heard the famous saying, you can bring a horse to water, you can't make it drink. Have you heard that? Yes. Yeah. I'm going to show you where the water is. And I'm going to do whatever I can to get you to drink. But in the end, it comes down to you. The willingness that comes from you to be like, you know what? Let's drink. Stick the tongue out. Drink. That's on you. If you don't, and I know I did everything I can, I will not lose a second of sleep. And this is something that comes from our childhood, you know, where it's like, well, you know, Mama will always do something for me. Papa will do it. Oh, but there's always someone who's going to do it. No, you're on your own. No one cares about you in your life more than you. And you can be all sad about it, or you can accept it as a reality and be like, okay, it's on me, and then start being smart. Take responsibility. Put myself in situations. Create some skin in the game. Okay? It's not on the coach. It's not, well, thank you. It's like, I mean, I love that you clap, but people hate this. It's true, right? Because you'd be like, well, no, it's about just pay the money, and once you're in, then it'll be fixed for you. It's like, no, even then it's on you. This is the harsh truth when it comes to transformation. If you don't have any skin in the game, nothing will happen. If you don't take responsibility, nothing will happen. What situation can you place yourself in so that success is inevitable? So key. Okay. Investment equals receptivity. How can I create some skin in the game? Think ROI. And then beyond that, what situations can I place myself in to make it inevitable? Here's an example. Say you're procrastinating on something. Some task, you know. You all know one thing you could do right now in your life that would improve your life, right? Everyone does. Let it sink in. Think of one thing. If you did it this week, your life next week would improve. If you could just do that one thing, right? It could even just be, like I was talking about the gym. Well, if I just went to the gym a few times a week, I'd be healthier next week. If I did that for a few months, I'd be in shape. You all know it. That's not your sticking point. Everyone here knows what to do. If you don't, go on YouTube because it's all there, right? Your problem is not, I don't know what to do. Your problem is, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. That's your problem. You have the action steps. You know exactly what to do to improve your life. But for some reason, you're not executing on it. So you can keep going on through your life just thinking, maybe someday something will change. Someday I will start executing on it. Someday when maybe I get a little bit more success, things will change and my motivation will change. Or you can start thinking like this. Okay, I know what to do, I'm not doing it. Okay, how can I put myself in a situation that will make me do it, that will force me to do it? So think of that task. Well, I should be going to the gym, 4 times a week. Say I told you, give $1,000 to your friend and tell your friend, if I don't go to the gym 4 times a week, you keep the $1,000. Are you going to go to the gym? Yes or no? Yes. Yeah, because now you don't have a choice. You put yourself in a situation where you don't have a choice. Whatever it is you're procrastinating on, if you give your friend $1,000, you're like, hey, keep it unless I do the thing, you're going to do the thing. That's just one small example. You must calculate and audit your life and create a lot of those situations where success is inevitable. Absolutely insane. This is why most people fail, by the way. It's not hard. It's that they just don't do those key things. If you left this event, you withdrew 1,000 euros, and you gave it to your friend, you'll take action. You'll do the thing. The hard part is 1 second. Here. That's it. Takes a second. Okay, willpower's gone. I got to do it. If you don't involve people, you don't involve money, you are screwed. Now, when I say this, there's always the little stubborn voice that kicks in. No, You can do it on your own. No. If you could do it on your own, you would have done it by now. You're simply not smart enough. You're simply not good enough to do it on your own. Or you would have. Accept it. Change. We get used to mediocrity. We're very good at tolerating mediocrity and rationalizing it. And we're very, very good at thinking that, oh, it'll happen next year. People live for their New Year's resolutions. They all know they're going to fail. Whenever someone tells you, like, this year the resolution, you're like, nah. Half the world, no, most of the world, 99% of the world fails at their resolutions. And then we think, well, next year will be different. What's going to be different? Right? Really think about it. What exactly is going to be different next year? You're just going to be more ingrained in your ways of going about life. More hooked on it, more run by it. Your comfort zone will simply be stronger. Well, no, next year I'll have more energy. No, you won't. You're going to be older. You think you have more energy the older you get? If you live your life a certain way, yes. But for most people, no. You get busier. There's more responsibility. You're now drained. It doesn't get easier with time. Nothing's going to magically happen for you. You have to make it happen for you. I compare it to, it's like the superhero thinking, Spider-Man thinking. One year that spider will bite me and I will finally be Spider-Man. That spider is not coming for you. You want to be Spider-Man, Spider-Woman? Bite yourself. Going back to that, how would you coach yourself example? Here's you as a coach. What situation can you push you in that you is going to hate and resist, but that you will thank you for after the fact? It's like giving that $1,000. Oh, now it's too late. Thanks for making me do that. How can you create those situations? So future you will thank you for making you do that. Because it's never, ever comfortable in the moment. By the way, let that sink in. If you're looking for it to finally be comfortable, it never happens. You learn to enjoy it, where it's like, ooh, out of my comfort zone. Hell yeah. So it makes it exciting. You change your relationship with it, but it never gets comfortable. How can you be like, push? You're like, oh, thank you. It's like you're on the diving board. It's like, but I'm scared. You're like, oh, it's okay. Nothing. It's not that high. It looks really high. That's what you have to do to yourself. Push you so that you thank you after. You're like, oh, thank you. I would never have done it otherwise. I would have just kept putting it off and off and off and off and off. Okay? That's what I did. I pushed myself in different situations, surrounded myself with people who held me accountable. I involved money, I involved people, I was strategic, and that's why I'm here today. If I can, you can too. But you've got to start thinking this way, and you got to start pushing yourselves in those situations where success is inevitable. To do so, there are 3 rules. Number 1, respect yourself. What does that mean? If you're familiar with the work of Jordan Peterson, I think this is one of his rules for life. He says, treat yourself like someone you care about. Right? So what does that mean? If there's someone you care about, you'll go above and beyond to help them. But yet if it's you, we just tolerate the worst of the worst. Right? Because you know everything about you. You're like, oh, I just suck. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. Ugh. And we're so good at tolerating horrible situations, thinking that it's normal, right? Going back to what I said before, if you don't have $500 in your bank account, that is pathetic. If that triggered you, what's the sign? And I'll get comments, by the way. I put this out in a video, and someone commented, did he just call me pathetic? And I answered, I'm like, yes, I did. It is pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic that as an adult, you don't have $500 handy. Now, if this triggered you, what does it mean? It means that you're very good at tolerating horrible situations, a horrible financial situation. You've convinced yourself that not having $500 handy is okay. Now, once more, to be clear, if it's by choice, I think that's fine. At times, you know, you might be, like I've been in debt multiple times, investing in myself, being smart about it, but it was strategic. It was like, okay, temporarily, I'm not going to have any money handy. And in that case, amazing respect. But if you're like, there's no money, I'm a victim, I have no money. Absolutely pathetic. That means you don't respect yourself. That's what that means. Here's my favorite perspective to sink into. And you've probably heard me talk about this in a couple of videos. It's called the "you're now in jail" perspective. Say right now, you don't have $500. And you're like, I can't believe he called me pathetic. What does he know of my life and the hardships and troubles that I went through? Okay, sink into this. Right now, you're no longer in the seminar room, you're in jail. Really visualize it. You're in a cell, and it's not a comfortable little cell where it's like, oh, you just did a small little thing. It's like the worst of the worst. Those horrible movies you see that traumatize you, you're like, oh my God, that's you. You're in a cell, there's huge thugs, they're looking at you, and it's about to go down. You might be thinking, well, what's about to go down? They're handing you the soap, and they're telling you, drop it. That's what's going down. Now, you're there, you're like, oh, and say I appear on the other side of the bars. And I'm like, hey, you want to get out of jail? You want to not drop the soap? $500. I'm going to give you one day outside of this cell to come up with the money. Or you're right back in here dropping the soap and bending over. Are you going to find the $500? Yes. Yeah. Right? Because it's a big deal. Like, I don't want to drop the soap. I don't want to drop the soap. You're going to do whatever it takes. You will find a way. You will be calling people, begging for it. Like literally, whatever, I need the money. You will find it. The question is, if you can find it in that situation, being in jail, because it's a big deal, if right now there's a certain opportunity, you're like, oh, I just need $500 for this is this, why are you not doing it now? Why don't you consider yourself as big of a deal? Why don't you respect yourself as much? Why does it take you being in jail to be that resourceful? The same with the procrastination. Oh, I keep putting it off. Say you were in jail. Okay, you know, to get out of jail, you got to do the thing. Are you going to do the thing? Of course, because it's a big deal. Respect yourself. That's number one. Number two is be resourceful. The more you respect yourself, the more resourceful you are as well. If you're in jail and you need to find the money, new options open up, right? Here's one way that anyone who can speak can make money. Okay, if you're like, I don't have 500, you know, I'm already working and I have the job, it's not paying enough. Okay, I'm sure you have some free time. If you're at this event, you have some free time. Here's what you do during your free time. You walk around the city, you walk around Vienna, you go up to strangers and you tell them, hey, 10 euros and I'll sing you a song. 10 euros, I'll sing you a song. Now, are a lot of people going to say no? Of course. And be like, ugh, no. But some are going to be curious. Some will be like, what's 10 euros? Nothing. I'm kind of curious. What's this song? Here. And then you just sing whatever. Happy birthday. Okay. Say you do this for like an hour a day. You can come up with 500 in a week. Right? All it takes to make 100 is just 10 people saying, okay, you can even charge 20 for your song. Just find 5 people who will give you 20 to your song. All of you can do this. Yet once more in our mind, well, no, it's not very comfortable. They're going to judge me. Okay, well then it's a choice. Your poverty and your horrible financial situation is a choice then. It doesn't mean you're stuck. It's not like there's nothing I can do. It means you acknowledge that you are pathetic. Right? If you're like, oh, I wish I had more money, I just showed you a way. If you don't do it, that means you admit you're pathetic. And you better not be offended when I call you pathetic, because it's true. Right? Unless you can't sing, in which case, dance. If you're like, Julian, I guess it works for most people, but I can't speak or sing, well then dance. Draw a picture. Do whatever. Okay? And then just take action. Just jump in. Stop waiting. Okay? Use. Work your way up. Get out of this magic pill, skip the process type of thinking. Right? Marketing will sell you on it. Hey, you just got to skip ahead, right? You can do it. It's like, no. Skip ahead where you can. Be smart, yes. But you still have to pay your dues. Don't think you're above the process. Surrender to it. The faster you surrender to it, the better. You sing the song, you make the money. You invest the money, skin in the game, and then you open new doors. Then you kill your ego again, and you make even more money and invest that, and you work your way up. That's how you do it. All right? The singing a song example is good. Does it mean that you should always do that for the rest of your life? No. Does it mean that it's the best way to inject money in your life? No. There's probably a lot better ways. The sing the song example is like the lowest. It's like no matter who you are, you can go out and do it. If you have a car, you can go out and just Uber around. If you just did that in your free time, you'd be able to inject more money in your life. Okay? And with being honest with where you're at and paying your dues, it also means being very strategic. Write that down. When I moved to Los Angeles, I started working at a place called the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. It's like a Starbucks. I was getting paid $8 an hour. It was minimum wage, long hours. It was bad. Now, if you told me then, I was making around $800 to $1,000 a month. If you told me, hey, save money, right? Try to save where you can, cut costs. Where would I be today? Still saving pennies. You got to spend money first to open up new situations. Spend money in a smart way, obviously. Open up new situations, new opportunities, so you're now making more. And when you're making more, save that. Don't save pennies, save millions. Okay? And then do whatever it takes. That's what I did. Going back to this. How did I start working with Owen? You might think, well, you just knew. You moved to America and you started. No. When I moved to Los Angeles, I had no plan. I was quite self-destructive. But at the same time, I also knew that if I put myself in that situation, there were a lot more opportunities than me being stuck in Switzerland. Now, with the internet, things have changed. There's way more opportunities online now. You don't have to necessarily move. But at the time, I was like, you know what? I don't like this. There's nothing here in Switzerland. I'm going to LA. Do you have a plan? Nope. But jumping in, we'll start opening up those doors. I'm in that situation where I don't have a choice. You can also think of this as burning the boats. If you're not willing to burn the boats, you're going to always have the way out. There's no incentive. Right? The same as this free event. Well, it's free. Are any boats being burnt? No. If you don't know what burning the boats means, it goes back to Troy, when they invaded the city of Troy. I'm sure you think of the movie with Brad Pitt now. You're like, oh yeah, like Brad Pitt. They invade the city, and when they arrive on the beach, they burn the boats. Why? Because now in their mind it's, we either take the city and win, or we die. We can't flee. We can't run away. Situation where success is inevitable. That's what I did with LA. Moved to LA. Now, I started working at that coffee place, making almost no money. And I'd go out and I'd start meeting different people. I actually became friends with the actor before he was famous. Had some crazy nights. And then saw Owen out a few times. I knew about what he was teaching. I loved it. But I didn't have a plan to work with him. And then after seeing each other out a bit, he was looking for someone to help out. I was like, hey, I'd love to. He's like, cool, come on, I'll interview you, see if it's a good fit. And because we think alike, he's like, you know what? It was actually a few interviews. He's like, you're great for the position, you're great for the job. Do you have a car? Now, I, at the time, was living on the living room floor of this guy in Hollywood, a ghetto little one-bedroom apartment. I had around $200 in my name. That was it. Super broke, struggling to even eat food. What would I eat for food? It was like those $1 meals. You get these frozen meals, like 10 for $10, or like these little Hot Pockets. It was absolutely disgusting. And what was my answer? Yeah. He's like, great, pick me up next week. Pick me up in a few days. Now, what would most people do? I don't have a car. I'm sorry. I'm kind of on minimum wage right now. I don't have much money. Oh, well, thanks for the opportunity. That's what most people would say. Most people would say, oh, you know, I'm trying to work my way up to it. I'm trying to save my money and save my pennies, and maybe in 10 years, I'll have enough to buy a car. I didn't do that. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do. I'm in jail now. I need to find a way to get a car. And I did whatever it took. called everyone, called family members, said whatever it took to get enough money. It was actually not that much. It was like $2,000 to buy this used car, this used Honda. Horrible car. It was actually I got tricked when I bought it. It was like a lemon, if you know what that means. It's like it just broke down all the time. It was horrible. But that was my car. I literally rolled up in a few days, like died down. I'm like, here it is. And I was now in debt. Now, what does everyone tell you? Never go in debt. What I say is, of course go in debt. If that opens the door to more opportunities to make more money, go in debt. If you're broke and I told you, hey, give me $2,000, in a year or so, you'll be making $200, $300 a year. But give me $2,000. Right now you're making $800 a month. $2,000? Would you give that person $2,000? Yes or no? Yes? No? Yes. But what if, oh, but then $2,000, I'm now in debt. I don't want to be in debt. I've been conditioned never to go in debt. That's why people fail. Right? That's why I get ahead. You got to think long term. Here's a situation that opens more. You think it all comes for free? No. Success, transformation, it costs. It's not free. People hate that too. Oh, well, you're saying that because that's your business. No, I'm saying that because that's the God truth. There is no way around it. You will have to pay for it one way or another. Nothing comes for free. You'll have to pay with your ego. You'll have to pay with your time. You'll have to pay with energy. You'll have to pay with money. No way around it. And that's what I did. And I paid my dues, and I put my ego aside, and I did whatever it took. Whatever it took. I literally, like things that most of you would be like, oh, I'm over that. I'd sleep on floors. I'd travel around the most horrible situations. I even a couple times babysat Owen's kid. People would be like, I'm above that. I'm not going to babysit. I'm like, yo, whatever gets me in. Right? Oh, hey, that's going to allow me to meet more people. Done. I'm in. Whatever it took. Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Most people are like, nah. I kind of like where I'm at. I want to like do the safe route. There is no safe route. You want big results? You got to jump in. Okay? So this is really what it comes down to. It's knowing yourself, realizing the more skin in the game, the more you get out, coaching yourself, putting yourself in those situations where you don't have a choice, playing on accountability, and putting your ego aside. This is also something that blocks a lot of people when it comes to socializing. Oh, well, what will people think? Hey, put your ego aside. Who cares what they think? Think more long term. If you do this, this is where you get. Oh, but what will my friends think? Oh, what will my little town think? Ideally, you're going to move out of that town, right? Do you want to stay in that little town forever? So who cares what they think? We care way too much about the small stuff and not enough about the big stuff.